I'm truly honored today to introduce someone who has been a part of my life for over 20 years, a friend who brings light, laughter, and genuine goodness everywhere he goes. Today's guest speaker is someone incredibly special, Avinesh Narayan, or as we all affectionately call him, Avi. Avi and I met during our Treasury days, and from the very beginning, he stood out as someone disciplined, focused, intelligent, and deeply humble. He's the kind of a person who will go that extra mile not for recognition, but because he genuinely cares. A great family man, a dependable friend, and someone who values how life brings about things. And he also values everything he does. His journey is truly inspiring. He started his career at Fiji TV in the technical IT department and quickly earning a reputation as a real brain box. And from there, life carried him all the way to the United States of America, where he continued building not only an impressive career, but a beautiful life filled with love, purpose, and unforgettable experiences. In this episode, we'll catch up with Avi, exploring his journey, his challenges, his wins, and of course, the joy of the amazing family who stands beside him. So sit back, tune in, and let's dive into the incredible story of my dear friend, Avi. So, Avi, tell me, my friend, how are you?
Mula Vinaka, Natasha, and Mula to everyone tuning in. First of all, Vinaka Vakalevu for the beautiful introduction. Honestly, I think that might be the nicest thing anyone has ever said about me on the air. And it's truly, it means a lot coming from you, someone who has been a constant in life for more than 2 decades. When a friendship survives late night studies, remember we used to have questionable food choices, the kinds of adventures. We probably shouldn't talk about it publicly, but then it continues across the ocean and into like completely different chapters of life. So I'm really honored to be here today. When I look back where we started in Fiji and where life has taken us, I feel proud, humble, and excited about it. In my story, it can encourage even more one person navigating the life change, chasing their dreams, working for better life, either here or abroad. So thank you for a beautiful introduction, Natasha, and I'm really looking for today's talent session. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Just before we get into deeper conversations, let's hear from him how he navigated through life here in Fiji and what was your career life here in Fiji, Avi?
Thank you, Natasha. It's a very good topic, especially for the graduating students and people who's looking for a brighter future here in Fiji. Not to complain, but I think Fiji is a very good place to have a good career. It all depends of where individuals' dedication and what they want in life. So, you know, um, despite of living in America for more than a decade, I still see a good development here in Fiji in terms of career, in terms of education. So I think people here also have a better future provided they're you know uh, aligned with what they want in the future. So there are very good industries like in different manufacturing industry and people who want to move across like medical field, technology field. I think there's a huge potential and development here in Fiji. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's good for everyone.
Yeah.
Life. If you want to have life over here in Fiji, that's wonderful. People always have this perspective of like migrating. I would suggest think twice. Like think from like your your side, what your family wants, what especially what you want in future.
Yeah, that's a very important thing that you have highlighted because I have come across few people who have like went abroad, not just in America, but like New Zealand, Australia, and other countries for a better future. But the planning was not there, so they did not really make it as successful as they had dreamt of. So Avi, going from Fiji to the United States of America, you know, what were some of the cultural and lifestyle adjustments you had to make?
Thank you, Natasha. I think that's something that like any individual will be. I think I would not say afraid of, but kind of like cautious of, depending on where they are going and which community they are kind of like uniting to. Um, for me, especially like when I went to America, like kind of like when in the Indian community, like same as here. So I just think those culture was kind of easy for me. Um, I I had the same values. Like I'm really dedicated. I'm down to earth. I pray every day. So it was good to meet with people who does these things over there. In terms of getting a job or starting a new career, that's where I think one would have kind of difficulty, um, adjusting to those culture. Um, America is kind of like more of getting things and kind of like adjusting into your own lifestyle. So you might have had like people who've been to America come back and they're trying to like kind of like wannabe style, but it's nothing like that. It's from an individual perspective, like how you want to like adjust into those cultures. So I think differences between Fiji communal lifestyle and American lifestyle, it's always good to like learn the balance between like the traditional values you have, especially like us being an Indo-Fijian, and then kind of like adjusting to the American norms. Like what they are looking for and how you present yourself. I think it's the individual, like what you are like. Those are some kind of like culture they want to learn, because America is all immigrants, right? And they don't have a real culture. It's you who makes like how you want to be in those culture, and maintaining like the native language. um I find myself fortunate to be around like with Fiji people, continuing our cultural values, prayer sessions, yagona sessions, talanua sessions. So it's always good, like integrating those into like a new culture. And then some may have culture shock, but these people, they have to help you out. It's you who have to take that initiative to like go and meet people. You don't have to be shy, like be on the learning side of it. So it's good to have like those things in mind, and then adapting those culture norms.
That's absolutely correct. I remember, I think last year, same period when I was in Seattle with you and your family, and I noticed that your home is you feel that the Fijian the Indo-Fijian vibe there.
Yes, yes,
So and amazingly your kids, even they speak Fiji Hindi too. And that
yes,
is
yes, yes.
absolutely true to say that you have instilled the values. And that is truly amazing. And now, like moving into the sense of identity and belonging, how has that phase or journey been?
Yeah. Like the first question one should ask themselves is like, who am I? And what is my purpose? Why I'm here, and what I'm doing here. So it's kind of like redefining your identity after migration. You know, Sometimes like when people migrate, they have the same kind of like attitude. They want to be treated same way, but there is okay in your own world. But like when you are in bigger countries like America and Australia, you really have to, navigate those dual identities as yourself and, the origin of the country you are in. So, building those sense of humor, being at home, taking that culture with you there, mingle around with like other culture, with other people, dealing with nostalgia, especially, and homesickness. It's very good. Whenever I come to Fiji, even if it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even 1 week, when I go back, I still have, tears in my eyes thinking about the things I did, thinking about like how I used to stay here. Those things will never go away from you, but you have to be you know very particular about like what you want in life, and how you're going to move forward with that. So do not stick. You have to keep on navigating the things you like to do, and the, the people who you want to meet. So just sit back, relax, let everything goes with.
Yes. I remember when we were studying together, and you were always like this, navigating through life, adjusting, and always very focused in terms of like what you want, your purpose. And I guess that has developed over time as well. And like, look at you now.
Yes,
And
nice.
I think those life experiences, like, it just molds us.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
whether it be like being with a bunch of friends back then, and we all didn't know where life would take all of us. So but amazingly, I guess everyone in our batch is doing so great. And
Exactly. Yes.
yeah. So I think this has just, the milestone was already set from before,
Yes.
but it's just that taking one step at a time, like, has really helped Avi,
Yeah.
and having a great family behind him too, like, heads down, they have always supported you. And I guess that is what we must always remember, that families, no matter what the differences are, or whatever the situation is in life, family support is always there.
Exactly.
and and of course, like, now moving on to like the career and the education opportunities, uh, let's take it from like the perspective of like Fiji and then US. I believe you did some other, you furthered your studies in America too. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So going back to my introduction, I did mention that Fiji is always have a potential and opportunities depending on what individual wants to do, right? So there's not much difference in culture and professional expectation. It's what you want in Korea. So yes, definitely I had my bachelor's here in Fiji. When I migrated to America, I had to, like do an assessment. So, they kind of like gave me certain years of um, uh, study to carry on, but like then I have to, redo my bachelor's degree, and then further continuing, I did my master's degree. So, yeah, people say America is a land opportunity, and I believe it, and I agree with it. It all depends, like what you want to do in life. So, the value of education and skill recognition, and do not believe that whatever you do in Fiji, it's a waste of time. No, it's not like that. It's like you carry those values, and then you want to like build upon it, right? Um, I was doing IT. I have been in IT industry for about like almost 2 decades now. So in Fiji, I was doing IT. So when I migrated to America, it wasn't like straightforward that I went into IT industry. I did some finance. I did things here and there before I actually get a job in IT. And it's kind of like I'm doing good now. So challenges and credential transfers, providing expertise, learning new technologies. It's all depend on like how you want to mold your career.
Yeah.
And then immigrant success stories and lessons you always hear from there. how like careers like build you, which career. One thing I have to tell you, Natasha, is just like you can be anything in America. Like if I'm doing IT, I don't like IT, I can go and study medical. So everything is provided there. It's an individual perspective and an individual choice what they really want to do in overseas or in countries like America and Australia.
Yeah. And I remember I think few years back when you also speaking about opportunities. So this is where I'm like joining the dots. When you mentioned that you were also doing like a freight or something.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And I know, like when you say that, in America you can switch things
Exactly,
anytime
yes.
you want. So I think that's a great example. You were doing that freight work as a side hustle, right?
Yes, yes,
Can you
yes.
tell us about that?
Yes, I mean, like there was, times where you want to, do something, but your mind is kind of like telling you to do these things, and there's an influence in, like people you are around with. Like sometimes you hear, okay, you can do your business and get more money, or you can, be on a career side and just like, doing what you like to do and things like that. So I tried kind of both. I had my freight company that I started. I was, doing that with, Amazon company. It was really good. We had a very good experience, but there's certain things that people don't realize, like when you start a new business, when kind of like in the midpoint of the business, and then like things you are doing, there's maintenance, things like that. So sometimes you have to make that decision over there. Is this good for me? Is this helping me? Is this like good for my family? Am I giving a balance? Am I living a balance line between family and my career, or I'm just there to make money? So all these things will like kind of like come together, and that's where you have to make those decisions. So yeah, we had side hustle, and I'm really thankful for my wife in supporting me with that. She was also doing it. She was actually driving the truck with me, so I'm fortunate, and she kind of like went through this journey with me, and we kind of like navigated that together before we decided, okay, no, we're not getting enough time for ourselves, for our kids, for our family, so let's just like let it go and focus on the career and go from there.
Well, I must say, Sheetal, your wife is she's a superwoman. So
No doubt.
yeah, and just like Avi, she is so humble, and she deserves all the recognition. I must say, and basically, you both were meant to be together.
Fingers crossed.
Moving on to the next interesting topic is, which I guess everyone would want to know, about the financial life experiences, like the practicality of it in terms of like getting to know the healthcare system, the taxes, how to adjust your financials and all that. So, take us through all that.
Yeah, sure, Natasha. I think when I was in Fiji, like we didn't have to like worry much about like where the money is coming from, right? Because our ancestors, our fathers, used to work. Like one person can support the whole family. So this topic really brings like the memories of early years in US, like when I migrated, because practical life experience are something every immigrant learns in the hard way. So one of the first big shock of like many of us is like the financial literacy, right? Sometimes we think like how much money we should pay, and how we're going to survive there, and the cost of living. So like in Fiji, like we grew up very different. Things like a example, we don't really talk about like credit scores. Like the first time I had credit scores, like when I went to US, insurance, deductibles, property taxes, like vehicle insurance, things like that. So then you come to USA and suddenly everything depends on you. So and suddenly like renting a house, buying a car, or even getting like a phone, like they would like ask what's your credit score. Like you really have to like learn that entire system. So yeah, how credit works, how interest rate works, how you budget expenses. It's a learning curve, but once you understand it, it becomes more powerful too. Healthcare and access is another adjustments. So in Fiji, we never deal with like medical bills in those days. In the same way, but in USA, you really have to understand like insurance plans. That's like a big thing. Every time you visit hospital, you have to prepare for co-pays, how taxes impact your income. I remember those moments of confusion, like reading the like a text, like my first form. I felt like you must have another degree to just to understand like the tax system. So but again, with time, like you learn, you ask questions, and then you get together like in navigating it. And there's a immigrant's dream. Like every immigrant has a dream. So owning a home, in entrepreneurship, people want to start their own business. Many of us come here, with that dream. So that guy is like another name for me, like dream, land opportunities. You buy a home, you build something, for families, to create stability, like for next generation. When I bought my first home, I wasn't like just a financial milestone. No, it was emotional. It felt like, okay, I made it. Me and my wife, we always dream about, going a home. So I know that's feelings. That is the feeling like many immigrant chase. Like even though when they go, live together, like maybe in one apartment, there's like six, seven, or even 12 people. But, from there, they build it. It's all like how discipline and, and how you plan and everything is possible. So, lastly, like navigating immigration, I think the laws, the residency is part of it. It's very stressful, in early days and there's like paperwork, deadlines, interviews, and it depends like how you're going to like mold your future. It forces you to be like very patient, very organized, and hopeful. But once you get it good, it gains deep appreciation for the opportunities you have. And so yes, practical life is a big part of immigrant journey, and they're challenging at first, but they also teach you resilience and display gratitude towards what you want to be, and in the end, shape you into a stronger person.
Yes, I do agree. When you said, like with the immigration process, you have to be so very have that patience, Like even us, okay, well, people like me who even apply for like the visa, the US visa. You have to go through this entire process and then, keep a tab on the process. And then finally when you go for that interview, um I panic, when that happens. So yeah, because just entering that US embassy is like, oh my god,
Yeah.
America.
Yeah, you really have to be prepared, and laws and regulation changes like every now and then. So you have to be very current on the situation, what's going around, and like within Fiji itself, what's going on, within the country you're migrating to. So you have to be like very current on that and following up. So you have to be always following up, your process, to be on time, interview days, and especially like, the things you have to bring to the office.
Yes. Speaking of that, have you noticed a lot of changes here in Fiji? I mean, compared to the last time that when you came
Yeah, that's very good. I think I came a couple of back uh
years back, yeah.
years back, and then when I went back and I was having this conversation with my friends, even with my wife, it's like if people get opportunity in Fiji for migration, they should take it. But when I when I came this time, and then my perspective has changed because a lot has has changed in Fiji. Like, people are getting, more educated. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of growth, a lot of industries to work with. So I think in Fiji, it's overseas for people. So I would not recommend, but it's it's what you want to decide, right? If you feel like you can build a future in overseas, like in America, New Zealand, or wherever you want to go, it's your choice. But Fiji is equally a good, place to be.
Yes, Fiji is developing, and it's great for those of us that are building our career, that want to do startups like this
Yes.
Let's Talk podcast. So there are opportunities, and you might have noticed that we have got some the influencers here as well, like the famous ones, that also help us through those experiences that they have,
Yes. Yes.
so yeah, it's just a lot of information sharing, information gaining, knowledge is very powerful. So
Exactly. Yes.
the
Yes.
exchange of that is very important. And I think through social media we are learning a lot. And and in terms of like people doing their own research, in terms of like uh, which country they want to move to, or if they want to stay, what are the feasibility grounds if they are doing their own work here, or they're doing a startup, etc. So I think it all plays a very vital role. And yes, agree with you that it's people's choice. Like if you think that you can make it here, or do basics here and then move abroad and explore more. Yeah, that's the way to go. Let's talk about the emotional and social experiences that you have navigated.
Okay. Yeah, Natasha, like when we talk about emotional and social experience, I think like as an immigrant, it's something that hits like very close to home, especially for me, as I'm the only one that migrated back then. So leaving Fiji wasn't about just like relocating. It was about leaving the whole family behind, family, childhood friends, and the comfort and the familiar of places, especially. That part is never easy. So we carry that emotional like way with you, especially moving to a new country. Uh, in the early years, like when like you have no friends, family there, there's like kind of loneliness, like that, like people with light heart would never want to take that, So sometimes there's times like they decide to like come back, when you don't have like people to support you over there. So that's something like I would like recommend like you wait and you seek assistance, you seek friendship over there. But at the same time, that experience teaches you resilience, how you mold yourself. So when I came to US, I had to like step out of my comfort zone and build new support system for myself. That mean like following and having new relationship, finding a group that fits for you. Uh, that the friends, the people who you could trust. Trust issue is something that can have like a whole conversation by itself. So and slowly creating that sense of belonging, like where you want to be, and honesty, and the journey that shapes your way and the things you want to do. Balancing responsibility is another big one. You'll be like living there, building your life, and kind of like the expectation you have back from home, right? And you continue to carry those values with you, and sometimes it feels like living two lives at once. So learning how to balance is kind of like uh, you know it's not easy, you know and sometimes that's not enough, like in terms of mental issues, right? But you don't have anyone to like, put your shoulder on, talk about things, be open about like what you feel about. But we just have to have enough power to, go through it and then, talk about stress, talk about, uh, like your feelings, and you have to be like, look after yourself in first few years, like after migration. So I think our generation is slowly breaking that silence, and it's good thing. And so yes, the emotional journey it has changes that builds like strength, empathy, and then appreciation for where you come from, and then building your own.
Yeah. Um, yes, speaking of that, I feel it's a greater challenge, like when you say, back home, back in Fiji, when the family needs some kind of support and all that. And when you're not physically present, not like the only thing that you can rely on is that emotion, that communication and the support. So I think you have done really great in that area. I mean, like good learning for a lot of us. But yeah, I must commend you on that part. Another important factor that I think we need to talk about is the community and the cultural contribution. Like how we Fijians contribute to the multicultural, part of in the US, like in terms of like preserving the culture and heritage, the roles of the temples, like how. So you can shed some light over there.
Oh yeah, sure, sure. So one thing I'm really proud of us, our Asians, no matter like where we are in the world, we always contribute to like multicultural fabrics around US. So in US especially, like we may be like small community over there, but our presence fell through the warmth of our culture and the way we bring up people together. So for me, cultural contribution starts from like the simple things like our food, the gatherings and the way we welcome people, whether it's festival, rock nights, even a family barbecue. We just like don't just invite people, but we embarrass them. That's a big part of who we are. So preserving cultural heritage is something that becomes more important, like when we live abroad. So you suddenly realize how valuable those things are when we are like around people. Festivals like Diwali, Eid, Christmas, having those like in Fiji style music, the masi, the food. We even do logo over there, so we do logo in drum.
Oh, I was gonna ask you about
Yeah,
that. Like, oh,
yeah.
how do you do that? Do you dig hole and stuff? But no,
No.
you just said it right.
So I know roti curry will never leave us. I know it keeps us connected to home. So those events are not just celebration, but they are reminders of our true identity of who we are. So, and in terms of temple and churches, Manlis, um, when I when in 2010 actually we built our own temple.
Oh,
The whole,
okay.
whole field community, like
So it's a community temple.
it's a community temple, and I'm proud to be a treasurer for that
Wow.
temple. So those play a huge role, like in life, keeping those values alive. Especially for my upcoming generation, the next generation, kids over there. So it's very good that they teach me their culture, and they become like cultural, like centers. Like our temple is kind of like a cultural center, so they bring together, help newcomers settle in, give our kids the sense of belonging. When you attend monthly or temple events in US, feels like a mini Fiji right there.
Yeah.
And like speaking about kids, like I think teaching them about the roots, like one of the most meaningful contribution we can make. And then growing up, they are like surrounded by many cultures, multicultural, as we mentioned. Um, and it's upon us like how to make like our kids understand the values we bring and the values we raise, right? And the stories of our ancestors, especially. So I try to involve like my kids in cultural events. Like my daughter was part of a Ram Lila in like 2 years now. My kid, like my son, comes Krishna. Even I play like Vasudeva role,
Wow.
sometimes, like in Christian Ashtami. So like we try to like involve in these small traditions, and then we don't lose a connection, from Fiji. So yes, Fijians abroad play a big role in multiculturalism, and by keeping our culture alive, sharing our culture, the values, I'm proud about it and making sure that it carries to the next generation.
That is so amazing to hear. One thing that I think it's just like our mentality that, oh, if so and so person has moved abroad, they will just forget about, their culture and the lifestyle they have here in Fiji, etc. But I mean, it's not the fact that, that's not the fact. That's what I mean. But because I believe the people, and I have known and witnessed people that have moved abroad, they are the ones who have, in fact, kept those culture, the traditions, the food, and everything so alive. And it's amazing.
Yeah, and one thing I tell you, Natasha, I think even though we were like doing religious activities, prayers in Fiji, especially for Indo-Fijians, like we have Krishna Masmiram. But when I moved to USA, it kind of like doubled. So the prayer sessions, the things, the cultural values we do, like there in USA, I think like it's just overwhelming. So like yeah, yes, and I'm really proud to be like part of that mini Fiji over there. And then I'll be like I'm ready to be an advocate for like the next generation.
Now we have reached our last segment, and let's hear from Avi about reflection and growth in terms of, like life back in Fiji and now the priorities, how it has changed. About migration a bit, which he has already covered, but he would give more insights on that. And then also the important one is obviously, this is one of my favorite, giving back to your community, to your country, So yeah, tell us about all those exciting stuff.
Yeah, Natasha, first of all, I want to thank my mom, my dad, all my siblings, in supporting me. Like when I first migrated to USA, they've been there for me, supporting, pushing me forward, like, go and do something for yourself. So, uh, they always look up to rely on, like, and, if there's anything that I can give back. So I think reflection and growth, like migration has definitely changed the way we look life. And then when you leave home, you start like in a new country, your worldwide expands. You begin understanding the value, the opportunity, the importance of resilience and power and the gratitude. Back in Fiji, our priorities were different. Life was slower, like more connected. Remember those pastry days, more community centered. And in USA, everything moves fast. Everything is goal driven. And the contest, the contrast teaches you to appreciate where you come from and still pushing forward into like what you want to become. So that's something that I I really appreciate because I always to be like vision driven. My I'm always seven of mission, of course my mission. And one of the biggest thing I learned is like the resilience. Like you have to be very calm, very patient about it, and you can plan it well. And overseas will test you. Whenever you migrate, financially, emotionally, mentally. But those challenges also teach us discipline, you know, and patience, as I mentioned, and a lot of gratitude for your family. You know, when you do good, your family feels proud. The support, the blessing, I know, come along with your journey. You know, it shifts the mindset from like, why is it hard? You know, and how do I grow on this? So, you know, those things kind of like mold yourself. So if I have to give advice, you know, to anyone planning to migrate, you know, I would say like be prepared to work hard or even harder than you ever worked, and but also be prepared for opportunities bigger than you ever imagined. Keep learning, stay humble, and don't lose your sight of who you are, and always stay connected to hope. You know, because your roots are very strong. It builds you even strong. Now, when you talk about success, like in PG, success often meant like having a stable job, supporting your family, being involved in communities. You know, the US success is more individual. It's career growth and financial independence, personal achievements. For me, success is balance like of both. The kind of providing your family while also uplifting like the communities you share. Like I'm heavily involved like in temples, in social service, things like that. I'm also like like a secretary of like Fiji soccer that we run over there. We run like local teams there. We take care of them, provide all the opportunities they have. So those things like really helps you. And that brings me into something I really strongly feel about, like what we are as an immigrant and what we can give back to our motherland, like Fiji, right? Our country has so much potential, especially in areas like education and technology and agriculture. Many young people look at agriculture as something as small and outdated, right? But the truth is, agriculture is a backbone of the economy. I remember, like, whenever I visited first time, I used to see like lots of sugar cane. Um, my grandfather used to do rice farming. I used to go there, play there. It was totally different environment. What I would love to encourage is mindset shift. You know, don't run away from agriculture. Innovate it, kind of modernize it, add technology, automation, and better business models. There's a huge opportunity there. Exporting value-added products, agribusiness, sustainable farming. If our youth combine traditional knowledge with modern tools, I think agriculture can become a profitable and very very respected career. And for us living abroad, giving back doesn't always mean money, right? I mean, like some people have this mentality, people in overseas have lots of money, they will give back. It's like it is something like sharing of skills. I mean, creating opportunities, mentoring our kids, the youth, providing local communities, or even helping like bring new ideas into country. Remember I mentioned you like a couple of years back, like the things we have in US like Uber or a Lyft or something like that. Like I think like I mentioned, like let's start in Fiji, something like that. And this time when I came, I had like someone is like actually like like walking towards this. So that's very good. I mean, like Fiji needs like thinkers, innovators, dreamers. So both home and abroad, like, it's kind of go hand in hand. So for me, giving back is a long term commitment. Fiji gave me my foundation, my values, and my identity. So I believe it's our responsibility as a community, as sons, daughters, and that soil to pour like something back into it. Yeah. Right. And whether it's knowledge, sport, or inspiration, I think that's where like we look back and see like how we're going to like help people in need, or like communities in need, and work towards that.
Yeah, yeah. And when you mentioned that saying that a couple of years back we discussed about the Uber uh, app of program that you wanted. It was not a couple of years back, it was just last year on the same time. And it was at your guys' place.
Yes.
And I think you, myself, and Sheetal, we were having that talk. And guess what? There's this guy who is, I think, in Singapore, and he is working on programming of that particular app. I reached out to him as well, so I don't know when he launches that. Then I might get a chance
Yes.
to
As I
talk to
mentioned,
him.
yeah,
Yes,
innovators.
yes,
Thinkers.
exactly.
That's what we really needing.
Absolutely true in saying that. And you have done a lot. You have you know uh, sort of achieved, accomplished a lot of goals, whether it be your education, whether it be your family life, you know, or your community work, and you still play soccer. I mean,
Do I look fit?
yeah, you do, you do.
Yes, I still play soccer, and then as I mentioned, we're running a Fiji league there, running a team over there, bringing community together. So it's part of like like helping each other,
Right.
and teaching our kids like good things. One thing I forgot to mention is America is very influential in terms of it can take you to the right way or the wrong way. So it's who you talk to, who you believe, who's doing your mentorship or who's educating you. Like make sure you have to like choose the right path. Like you listen to everyone, but you do what's right.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's very important.
And then also like staying focused and result driven as well, solution driven as well, and of course like how you have your family supporting you, like
Yes.
your ship is full of people that is driving towards that main objective, that the direction, so everyone is on same page, of achieving that goal, and of course and helping each other grow,
Yes.
and that this is one of the things that I've also learned from you, back in Nashville. When we were like studying at our friend's house,
Yes.
and how we all used to just be together, study, and we have that one focus, of
Yes.
achieving something. So of course, you are in your area of that same IT, and I think there's another friend of ours in New Zealand who is in IT as well, and few of us who actually find like had to find our own way, not in the IT, but yeah, it's great seeing everyone who has progressed. And I must say that I'm so thankful, Avi, that you took out your very precious time, and we're having this conversation. And I know we planned to do a virtual one before this, but I'm so grateful that we were able to do this face to face, conversation. So, yes, that brings us to the end of our conversation, our next podcast uh, episode. And if you haven't been following Let's Talk Podcast, make sure you follow, like, share, comment, send me your messages, and tell me what topics you want to, um, listen the next time. Or if you want to be part of a conversation, most welcome. We can connect virtually, or if you are around in Fiji, we could do a face-to-face conversation as well. So stay tuned, stay humble, keep growing, keep shining. Thank you so much, Abhi.
The next work level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.